two of the best voices in the telecom industry. Himanshu Kapania, MD of ITR Cellular, and Sanjay Kapoor, the former CEO of Bharti Airtel, join us right here on Business Tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. Sanjay, let me begin with you. Is this really a game changer, or do you believe this is incrementally positive?
Look, let's go by the policy in totality and say that the industry, which really scrounges and struggles to get more spectrum on the table, anything that deals with sharing of spectrum per se is a positive news. So it's a positive news. But what is allowed is an intra-band sharing with some constraints at a 25% stop for overall spectrum and 50% within the band. Now, the moment you start examining all these things, then the policy becomes a little restrictive, and also that the spectrum can't be licensed or leased out to somebody else makes it restrictive. So if you look at the intra-band scenarios in the marketplace, I would say it's not a game changer, but it allows you wherever possible to juice your assets much finer, and therefore economically for the industry and the nation, and from a consumer perspective, from an experience perspective, good for the consumers. So I would say, it is not a game changer, but it's good overall.
It isn't quite a game changer. That's Sanjay's view. Himanshu, comment on the concern raised there. The regulators imposed caps on spectrum sharing. Do these caps look reasonable, or do you think they're restrictive?
So first and foremost, on an overall basis, we believe that there is no necessity of a cap in a sharing environment. The government of India should encourage more and more operators to be able to utilize spectrum which is not being fully utilized by any operator or a set of operators with a operator who has a fully loaded network. So if that means that there can be larger growth for a particular operator, so be it. The cap should apply to quantum spectrum a particular operator can buy in auction as well as in spectrum trading. And I don't think it is necessary to apply the similar cap on spectrum sharing.
But Sanjay, given the fact that we do have this cap, do you think then the norms seem to be more positive for smaller players than the bigger players? Do you think it's advantage smaller players as against the big boys of GSM?
So, you might be partially right. When you look at the constraints per circle on holding the amount of spectrum, whether 25% or 50% intra-band, it becomes a little restrictive in large cities, especially the metros, Delhi, Bombay, for the large operators, because I think many of them would be kissing that 25% mark overall, and maybe one odd could be even crossing that mark. Therefore, this policy truly becomes null and void for them and not applicable. So from that perspective, maybe smaller guys do benefit more, but they'll have to pay 0.5% extra SUC, and I don't know whether their P&Ls currently allow them the luxury to do that, because the spectrum that they have is currently not utilized. So tomorrow there might be arrangements between a big operator and a small operator, time permitting, or a mid-sized operator and a small operator to probably collaborate and then work out the terms where who bears the cost of that 0.5% will get negotiated between the two. But when I look at overall, there could be three definitive segments. One, the CDMA, where even the administrative licenses or spectrum is due for sharing, and therefore some CDMA applications on data, EVDO, could be emerging out of that, is one possible use case. The other use case could be around GIO, where this could probably be an entry into voice for them, because they have 1800 megahertz of spectrum. They tie up with somebody else, get the additional 1800 megahertz and do voice on that. So those are two use cases that one can think of.
All right, that's really the debate between the big and the small players. But Mr. Kapania, if I may come to you, given ideas, passive infrastructure sharing agreements that you do have with the other big boys of GSM, Bharti and Vodafone, will you at one level be more comfortable sharing spectrum with these two particular companies?
So we will evaluate sharing of spectrum as and when the policy is finally announced. This is only a set of recommendations which is gone to DoT.
All right, Sanjay, if I may come back to you, what could be the potential upside for the industry as a whole on account of spectrum sharing in terms of cost saving? Or do you believe this is way too early to talk numbers just yet?
So again, no numbers done. After the passive infrastructure sharing, this is the first time when probably the radio access network can be shared, both the BSC and the BTS, because you are sharing spectrum now. And as more spectrum comes together by way of sharing, the number of sites that are required to service X number of customers are bound to reduce, because you don't need capacity sites coming in, and especially we have seen 3G networks, they're all under stress no matter which operator. I think this, at least for that 2.1 gigs of spectrum band where 3G is playing today, could be a respite both to the consumers and to the operators.
Himanshu, let me have the last word on the one grey area, which is on 3G roaming pacts. These norms indicate that 3G roaming pacts are illegal. This is, of course, in contrast to the court order. What's the way forward as far as these 3G roaming pacts are concerned?
So I have not seen the specific details, but as far as 3G ICR, we have a court judgment at this point of time from TDSAT, and we are in complete agreement with the court judgment.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.